Kia ora, and welcome to my video around my articulation of stance. I've decided to use the Practising Fiercely framework for this, which you can see on the screen now. So I have input my information from my articulation of stance to make this visual as a one-page visual, but I also have some other slides that I will talk to around my articulation of stance. So my first slide is around my fulfillment as an RTLB. So fulfillment for me comes from knowing that I've done the work well and done it with integrity. I find it in the moments where I can see a real difference being made. So it could be a child who's holding themselves a little taller and sees themselves in a better light because something I've been a part of, or a kayako who's growing in their confidence and showing willingness to try new things, even if they've had doubts before. It might be school staff who start to find their voice and build their knowledge and confidence. I find my greatest fulfillment comes from the most challenging cases, those that demand really deep introspection and the careful navigation of competing perspectives. So when I'm practicing fiercely in that role, it really fulfillment comes from that. So colleagues and others who know me might notice a shift in how I hold myself as a practicing RTLB. So like most people, I have experienced imposter syndrome, and that goes on for a while, and I think from time to time it still comes up. I'm beginning to truly see what I bring to this mahi though. And what I believe that I bring is my lived experiences, my knowledge, and my genuine care for people that I work with. I believe that I'm holding myself in a more positive light in this role, and I've shifted from newbie RTLB to someone who's active in the role. Having my own liaison schools has really helped with that, and I'm now supporting kayako and kura directly through liaison as well as casework. So I now feel braver in this role, particularly after engaging with a lot of the content in the specialist teaching course and the L&B course. I'm less hesitant to put my perspective forward with kayako, senko and leadership. I've taken time to clarify my own stance and what matters to me. And an example of that is showing respect and professionalism. And that isn't just me showing respect and professionalism, but it's being shown back to me as well. So for everyone throughout the process, my stance is my why. And now that things I keep revisiting throughout my mahi, and this is really helping me to find my way through my casework. So my why being revisiting that. So practicing fiercely. What does that look like for me as RTLB? So since stepping into the role, I've really grown a lot more confidence in what I bring to it. I bring over 16 years experience in the classroom as a classroom teacher. I bring relevant and recent knowledge of what kayako face daily. I've only been out of the classroom a year and a half. So that lived understanding means that I can meet with genuine empathy. I've been on that shop floor recently, so I have that shared understanding. I know the pressures of a busy classroom and the demands on teachers' time and energy. It brings credibility and connection when I'm working with kayako, and I've come to recognise that this is one of the strengths that I have in my role. Other people have recognised that in me as well. So senko and kayako alike have said to me that that recent experience has given me some genuine understanding. Practicing fiercely is to show up with full integrity. So being honest about who I am and what I know and what I'm still learning. So it's without me pretending to be more than I am. So I let people know if I don't know something, I don't know it. I let them know that not pretending. It means holding high expectations for myself, and not because I'm performing, but because I have a genuine interest in keeping everybody's best interest at heart and wanting that genuine interaction with everybody. So from the outset, others might describe my practice as warm but principled, and someone who brings authentic care to their work and doesn't cut corners on what that care requires. One place that I practice fiercely and is really in advocating for akonga, particularly when other professional discourse begins to shift towards negative deficit lens. So in my interactions with whānau, kaiako, senko, LSC, senior leadership, I hold myself to a standard of genuine care, empathy, and curiosity, and I approach conversations with authentic intention and professionalism. I remain strengths focused, and that's something that I'm really strong on, even if that position of being strengths focused, strengths based, is uncomfortable or unpopular. I'm a bit braver and not as shy about challenging those difficult situations. And I will bring conversation back to strengths based again and again and again. So what I strive for is the ability to hold my stance with integrity while keeping relationships intact. And I try to be the person in the room who will gently name if something needs to be named and advocate for what is right and preserving that connection. Those connections between myself and the collaborative team and between others and the collaborative team. So I believe that stance is visible in my liaison role when I've been revisiting how requests for support are received. So rather than moving straight to intervention, I've been bringing conversations back to the kura, asking what has already been tried, what's currently in place, what might be possible with RTLB support. It's not always been easy to have those conversations, particularly as a new liaison. So because I'm navigating a new relationship and I'm not wanting to upset what the school has come to expect previously. But I do hold firm because the operating standards and procedures are clear, and because I really strongly believe in growing internal capacity rather than positioning our RTLB as the magic bullet. So if akonga have had recent RTLB intervention within the last year or so, I ask schools to go back and revisit that request as well and look to see if those strategies and things are being implemented or if they can be implemented before we look at putting a case forward. So beyond my growth, I have also noticed meaningful shifts in how others talk about and respond to akonga. By staying firm in my stance and respectfully and gently challenging negative discourse, I've seen others become more willing to pause and see things from a different perspective. One that centres the voice and experience of akonga and whānau. So reframing those conversations back to strengths-based, as I mentioned before, and solutions-focused, and reminding others that we're addressing difficulties rather than labelling behaviours, that has actually led to some really significant progress in some of my casework. So my stance as an RTLB, I am committed, I'm hardworking, and I'm genuine. These aren't just words that I use to describe myself, but they are ways that I try to show up every day in my practice. I really believe in what I do and what we do as RTLB, and I will advocate for things that matter, even when it's not easy to do that. Equity is a value that I've always held close my whole life. It sits at the heart of everything that I do as RTLB, and I believe that every akonga deserves to be part of their local school and have the same access to education and support as everyone else. Inclusion, it's not an add-on or a nice to have or something that we aspire to on a good day. It's an expectation and a non-negotiable. I carry this belief into every referral and every conversation that I have. I want the people that I work with to see me as someone who genuinely has their best interest at heart. I aim to be proactive and solution focused and not someone who identifies barriers and stops there. I bring empathy and understanding to my practice while maintaining integrity and professionalism. I recognise too that stance isn't fixed or rigid. It does depend on the context, so where I am and who I'm with. When I'm going to schools and into whānau spaces, I enter as manuhiri. I listen before I lead. When I'm working alongside colleagues, I hold a different space. My core values and beliefs remain constant in all contexts, but I do understand that how I show up needs to fit the moment. One of my clearest non-negotiables is respect and professionalism, and this goes both ways. I believe that every person I encounter, from akonga, whānau, kaiako, colleagues, all deserve to be treated with genuine respect, and that includes me. So experience, knowledge and skills should be valued and not overlooked. Everybody's experience and knowledge and skills. Part of showing respect is honouring people's time, and I practice and commit to open, honest and timely communication. If I say I'm going to do something, I'll do it, and I'll do it in good time. And I hold this standard for myself, and I believe it's reasonable to expect the same from those I work alongside. So within my practice, I enact my stance by advocating for akonga and whānau. Something that has come up often through my casework has been the lack of akonga and whānau voice from schools. Kaiako and kura have not always engaged with akonga to hear their perspective, and sometimes not spoken with whānau about what's happening for their child. Occasionally it's been present from the beginning of casework and continued throughout, where information has come to light at whaiwhakaaro, and it's the first time that whānau are hearing about it. There have been recent referrals where, during initial whānau meetings with me at whakawhanaungatanga, parents have not even seen or heard about the request for support. It hasn't been discussed with them, and they've got no idea what the referral's based on. So they may know that their child is experiencing difficulties at school, but what whānau are telling me and what the school has put the referral in for can be quite different things. So enacting my stance to advocate for akonga and whānau has been a really important part of my role. At times I've needed to remind kaiako and kura of who is at the centre and the importance of clear, respectful and timely communication. Whānau should never be hearing the reasons behind a request for support for the first time from me. While advocating for akonga, in particular for gathering student voice, I've noticed a shift in some kaiako about their understanding of why this matters. Seeing them come to understand that why behind a behaviour because they've heard directly from the akonga has been really powerful. I've seen a softening and people becoming more open to the idea that behaviours are communication and not just deliberate acts of defiance. In meetings, I've also witnessed whānau frustration when deficit language is used towards the akonga. By practising fiercely in these moments and enacting my stance around akonga and whānau voice, equity and inclusion, whānau have been more willing to open up and trust that I have their child's best interest at heart. And this gives me a sense of fulfilment and strengthens my commitment to holding my values and beliefs at the heart of my practice. Stamina. My stamina is RTLB. My stamina is it's more than just energy. It's about being able to show up with clarity and focus for the people that I work with day in, day. Without it, my ability to hold my stance and practice with integrity might start to slip. So looking after myself isn't a luxury, it's a must to do my job well. A lot of my stamina comes from the people around me. My family are my foundation. So having support at home, especially from my husband, who picks up the slack during busy times, such as study and heavy casework, it makes a real difference. Time with friends, good food, the occasional trip away, a book, sitting down to watch something I enjoy. These are all things that genuinely restore me. They're not extras, they're part of how I keep going. Sleep matters to me too, even though it can be hard to protect when there's a study pinch point or casework follows me home. I'm really trying not to bring casework home, but sometimes that's just part of the job. I am learning to treat rest as something that supports the work that I'm doing and not something that gets in the way of the work that I'm doing. So the biggest drain on my stamina right now is how easily I give up my scheduled office time. I want to be available and helpful to people, so I do tend to say yes to meetings and appointments at the expense of my admin time and my office time. My colleagues and my practice leader have helped me see that this is something that I need to be more fierce about. Protecting that time isn't about me being unavailable. It's about making sure that I can do the work sustainably. So at work, I get a real boost from learning alongside colleagues, engaging in professional development and trying new things. And most of all, my stamina grows when I can see the work that I'm doing is making a difference. When kayakers start to grow their confidence or a child sees themselves differently. These moments really remind me of why I do this job, and they keep me going. So what genuinely fills me back up is connection and growth. Time with people that I care about is the biggest recharge for me. And that leads to my supports. So as this year has progressed, I found myself reflecting more on the people who support me and what those relationships mean to me. Family, as I've mentioned, are my greatest support. They bring understanding around my passion and my work ethic for my career, and they're incredibly patient. My sons and my husband take care of me when I'm deep in casework or study by carrying the extra load around the house and making sure that I have what I need, like meals. Within the RTLB cluster, I've got some close friendships with colleagues, and I can speak openly with them, and I trust to engage without judgment. These people give me strength and they reinforce my confidence in the role. They've been mentors to me while also keeping things real. I know that I can rely on them for honest advice and to ask me the tough questions when it's needed, drawing on their own experience as RTLBs and a genuine willingness to share their knowledge and resources with me. As I've grown into my liaison role and built connections across Kura, I've also developed stronger professional relationships with Senko, LSC colleagues, and others. They've been a valuable source of knowledge and support and have been encouraging as they've watched my practice develop. They're generous with their experience and they understand that I'm on a learning journey and I am navigating my responsibilities as both liaison and RTLB. This year has also brought some meaningful collaborative opportunities through the RTLB STAR project group. I've been working alongside Kayako and an occupational therapist from a specialist school, as well as other professionals engaged in neuro-inclusive practice. Together, we've contributed to professional development workshops for beginning kayako and their mentors. And these connections have genuinely been valuable, giving me and extending my network of people that I can draw on and call upon and with support in my mahi for kayako and in my liaison role. I've also noticed that as I grow in this role, I bring greater empathy to my work. When engaging with kayako, I try to meet them where they are and listen carefully to what matters most to them. So each case is different and the needs of the people I work with vary, so my approach needs to be continually shifting and evolving with each referral. Engaging with the learning and behaviour domain 1 content has encouraged me to actually slow my practice down and not try and race ahead. I'm taking more time to listen and connect meaningfully with the people at the centre of the mahi. building confidence and an understanding that I'm here to support and advocate for what is best for ākonga. I feel this is fostering a deeper trust that I hold the best interests of whānau, ākonga, kāko and kura at heart, and that I am practicing with authenticity and integrity. So thank you very much for watching my video around my articulation of stance. I hope that you've enjoyed it. Kia ora.